Hello, everyone. Thank you for being patient. Welcome. Today, I have brought with me my dearest, most wonderful boyfriend, Tim. I almost called you by your full name. That would have been a bad move.
Yeah, that's not a good way to start it, for sure.
And those of you who may or may not know, I'm an ENFP. Tim is an INTJ. He's not super into MBTI and all that like jargony stuff, so we're gonna try to stay away from talking about that specifically. But if you guys have questions about like how it works, what kind of struggles we have, that's what we want to talk about today. And also, to start us off, I have a question from somebody.
Hello.
Which is, do your differences bother you or motivate you to consistently improve?
And you just really jumped right into it.
Yeah, that was the only question.
Do our differences bother me or give me motivation to like be better?
Yeah, I think for me it's both.
I mean, yeah, I definitely like to say that I just wish you were perfect. No, but I mean, obviously, like everyone has unrealistic expectations, but my client.
You keep going.
Well,
we're on rolly chairs on like a wood floor.
There's no carpet. Yeah, I mean, it could definitely be frustrating because I think we, we idolize, or I guess we think of like how everyone should be basically in our own heads. And like, if they don't like live up to these completely ridiculous standards, which are like never achievable pretty much, then you just like have this like semblance of like, I don't know, like grief or like, damn, it's not working or something. But it's just kind of, it really all just comes down to active communication. Just like, hey, if there's a problem or something, or they're not like adhering to even, like a morsel of these standards or something, or you don't see them like actively trying or something after you like verbalize, or communicate, then yeah, it could become like a bigger issue, I suppose. Then that's kind of where like relationships start to fall with like the lack of communication and whatnot. But I mean, yeah, going back to the question, I guess, it definitely, she brings out a lot in me. Like, I could get angry at sometimes and whatnot. So it definitely gives me like motivation to just improve. I could have like, I could get angry or something, not like physically, but just literally like more like irate. Just, I'll maybe not think as clearly after something's been like progressively getting worse for so long. But yeah, I think overall, as long as we're talking about it, at least communicating about like, hey, instead of this, whatever scenario, hypothetical scenario has been going on for 7 months or something, and we haven't like discussed it at all, then yeah, that would be a problem. But it's just kind of just getting to the root quicker, or just letting the person know like, hey, like I've been noticing this and I don't like it, and it's causing me anxiety, frustration, whatever, and then just working to improve that. So yeah, overall the balance I think is more motivating than being pissed off.
Yeah, I think it would be really hard to be in a relationship with someone where it's like more on the pissed off side. Like if you're always pissed off at each other, like how are you ever gonna really like? Yeah. Why would you want to be with someone that pisses you off all the time?
I mean, a lot of relationships I look in, or not like look into, but I'm just kind of like subjected to, just having to hear people like bitch about it and whatnot. It's just always like this never ending cycle of just like, well, I gave them this chance or another chance or another chance, or I've communicated this over and over and over and nothing seems to get done, or they don't care, or whatever it may be. And I'm just like, I'm just like so blunt. I'm like, then why are you still there? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I get there's, nostalgic tendencies. You've been with someone, there's longevity to your relationship. You've experienced special, whatever subjective that may be, moments with these people. And, you're still like, it doesn't outweigh like the shitty circumstances or situation you're in, and people don't seem to like, if it's like, you know, fear of never finding someone else or abandonment or feeling alone, whatever it may be. But yeah, it's just, if you're in a bad situation, you need to really just understand that if you've given a decent amount of effort and nothing's improved, then you need to get out of that. So it's just, yeah, I don't understand a lot of these relationships. They just seem very, I don't know, like petty in a sense. If you're not willing to, you know, work together, you know, when you guys are constantly bitching or trying to like evade each other, then, you know, what's the point, right? Move on.
Yeah. I would say that I've grown so much as a person, like being with you, like you motivate me every single day to be better than I was the day before. I mean, maybe not every single day. There are definitely days when I'm just like,
Yeah.
good. But I think overall, I've improved a lot, and I think I've noticed myself improving and becoming a better, more well-rounded person since we've been together. And like, you're always honest with me when I'm taking stupid paths that aren't actually helping me get towards my goal, because sometimes I can get caught up in the moment. Get a little excitable.
Really? What?
Like whatever new is happening at the time, and you're like, hey, are you sure that's what you want to do? And I always know, like, I can read him like a book, and I always know when he's saying something and like implying that I should do more action than he's letting on. Like,
it's just like, I think anyone could benefit from more like introspection, you know, just setting time aside every day to kind of reflect and be like, where am I going, or what am I doing? Where am I now, or who am I now compared to where I was even yesterday or a week ago or a month, like whatever you're trying to achieve, I guess. And, you know, using that knowledge to just like benefit and, you know, just excel at your, you know, like progression.
I agree. Well, let's say hi. There's some people that have popped in. Hello, Shujat. He is from Iran.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then hello, Zira. And then I'm hoping that's pronounced Zira. Hello, Iskra. And then hello, Sail. Sail is in Serbia. They're both from on the Discord server.
Oh my God.
Hello,
how cold
Lyrics.
is it over there?
I don't
I'm
know.
curious. If it's like negative 18 over here, I want to know what it's like in Serbia.
Probably pretty cold. I don't know. He hasn't posted any pictures outside that I've noticed, but which one of us is the nerd?
I mean, define your like perspective of a nerd. What does that mean to you? Like what? Like a geek, someone who's like, you know, what, like into something like an oddity, or what? Like what is your idea of a nerd? But probably both to, you know, yes to both. I don't know.
I think we're both pretty nerdy in our own ways. Do you find yourselves adjusting your approach during a disagreement to fit the way the other person understands, and how so?
No, I was just actually, I need to read that again because I was looking at his response. He said Serbia is not Siberia, and I like totally, I heard Serbia, and I was just like immediately like,
oh
yeah, like immediately.
You guys
like,
are on the same wavelength.
Dude.
I didn't even consider
and
that.
And it's also that your name includes Icelander, so it's kind of like I put the two together. I'm like, oh, freezing conditions, like tundra. I didn't think about it much, but yeah, I'm not perfect. So wait.
Well, that was pretty funny.
Do you find yourself adjusting your approach during a disagreement to fit the way the other person understands? How so? I mean, I don't really think so. I don't know. I mean, I kind of just take my own approach. I mean, typically I am really like blunt and to the point, I guess. I don't really like, I empathize, but I don't really like cater to people's like emotions, I guess. You know, I'll definitely like, obviously depending on the situation or like what exactly the topic is, I might, you know, adjust more. But generally speaking, I want to be myself as much percentage of the time as possible. I don't like, varying my personality based on who is in front of me, or, if they're more insecure, or whatever, just whatever it may be. I just want to be me, like the real me, as much time as possible. So I don't really adjust or cater to people's like individual personalities and tendencies and whatnot.
And I would say that for me, it's more about adjusting my standards for not for communication. How do I say this? Adjusting my own interpretation of the words that he says, because I'm used to like looking into what people are saying, because they're always like talking between the lines and they're never very direct. Like most people aren't very direct and honest. So I'm not used to that. And usually when most people are direct or honest, like there's more intention behind it than what is actually there. Like when he's being honest, it's just like, these are my thoughts. Like you said, he's trying to be himself. So for me, it's more like adjusting my expectations and trying not to take the words personally, because they're not personal, they're just honest. And sometimes it's like exactly what I need to hear. But I mean, in terms of arguments, I think we've more so found out when's the best time to approach a disagreement, more so than how we communicate the disagreement. Like if one of us is too pissed, we do not try to talk right then. We try to let each other have like alone time, think about it, and then come together when we've both relaxed.
I could see how a lot of like other people or relationships can like probably hate that aspect, because they're just like, oh, I'm emotional now, and it's just like eating at me, and that's all I can think about and whatnot. But I guess, I don't know, maybe after so long, like I feel like that was the start, like how we kind of started off. We were just like there and now, and it just it, like you have to realize that we're like just so fueled by emotions. We're just like ever adapting and changing and stuff. So it's like, if you're that like irate and pissed and just like, your thoughts are all convoluted, you're not going to get as much benefit out of discussing or whatever, communicating with your significant other at that time, as opposed to waiting, maybe reflect on it more. It could be good or bad. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? If you wait longer, then, these delusions or other things may start coming into play that may just make you feel worse. Who knows? But ultimately, I guess just, to keep it at a more basic terms, is just like, let yourself calm down, let yourself reflect on it. And, just then when you're in a cool state,
Sunday is like cleaning herself, and it looks very like intense. She's like moving her arm like this. She's like licking like her backside. Like it is intense to look at.
It's like she cut out like a window of cardboard so we can like see her, because she wants to see us. But crap, now I lost my train of thought. But yeah, basically I think just it's always best, like I think objectively, so it's better to wait. I guess that's weird. It's like an oxymoron, right? Objectively, I think. No, I think. Objectively, it's better to have a clear sense of like what you're trying to express.
Yes.
In a cooled state, like a neutral state in a sense. Yeah. So that's always better and always more beneficial than if you just come in screaming and escalating to throwing chairs and whatever the crap, whatever it may be. Like,
I think it's just like ineffective to talk that way. It just like only exaggerates the anger and makes it worse. And then you say worse things, and it really just isn't beneficial.
It just makes it worse. Like pretty much. Yeah. Trying to look back at like specific times and stuff, it's just never been beneficial, I guess, in our case, because it's just you're pissed, you're fueled, your blood pressure's rising, and you're not taking in what these people are saying. You're just waiting for like your rebuttal and stuff, or it's just I don't know, redundant.
Yeah, you have to be open to listening too when we come back to actually communicate.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy either, to learn how to do that, because we've had the moments. He says we're cool nerds. Thank you.
Thank you for your approval.
Christy says she has the same struggle with her husband. I'm always like, you inferred this. And he's like, I don't infer. That's fantastic. So he's saying, like, what kind of advice would you give to people who think kind of like you?
I mean, like what?
Like, think about how you experienced your life and, like, what are some things you wish you would have been told or knew when you were younger?
I guess I wish I looked into personality more. I guess, I don't know. I mean, I don't completely agree with all of this, but I like that it kind of builds a foundation for you to kind of build off of to maybe understand yourself more. And it's always good to, you know, feel relatable to other people. And it's, you know, what easier way than literally just a couple of, you know, letters, essentially, like
Yeah.
I'm an INTJ or something. Oh,
It's
there's
like a
way more
shorthand.
INTJs. I don't know. I mean, for younger, like I was nothing like I am now. When I was pretty much polar opposite. I don't know how young you are or what, but when I was even 18 or 20, I was super just, I wouldn't give my opinion. I would just kind of be like the lurker in the background, just kind of like, I mean, I still, in a sense, I'll like listen to the conversation a lot, but I can definitely like pop on some charisma and be engageful and whatnot now. It's just, I think it all just kind of derived from or stemmed from just this realization that, you know, you can't please the world. You can't please everyone. People are going to hate you for even just being like a good person and stuff. You could be as great or empathetic, open-minded as you can be, and people will hate you for that. Like people will find a reason to, you know, disagree or dislike you for whatever it may be. So it's just being the best you, just, you know, being yourself, like for who you are, and, you know, just like actively improving. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what advice. I mean, this is just universal. I don't know. It's not related to a personality type. But I think societally we would improve just like exponentially faster if people thought with these, you know, kinds of like, I guess, morals or ideologies. But yeah, just be the best you, be open-minded, you know.
Oh, so she's an ISFJ and she's dating an ENTJ, and they have similar communication things like us, like waiting till they're less emotional and that kind of stuff.
That's good.
You're welcome. Oh yeah, she's saying thank you. Or he, I don't actually know what kind of name that is. Seems like a girl name.
Zara? I mean, I would imagine.
What was your first impression of each other?
You know exactly what I'm gonna say, don't you?
I do.
What? So I mean, when we met, I was living in a small, essentially hick town of maybe like 14,000 people for 22 years. You know, very just, I guess, sheltered in a sense for the most part. It's just, you have the small, you know, just the small, like rural kind of lifestyle and whatnot. Everyone's kind of like the same, but getting off track already a little bit. But anyways, yeah, I was there. I was in a small hick town for 22 years. I decided to move out to Colorado because my buddy was there. He's like, hey, I got like a place for you. You can hang out for a while you, you know, build up. And yeah, so I met her like 3 days after I moved out there, and we went on like our first date a couple days later, and we went down to like a billiards kind of like bar. And she, I don't know, I mean, I definitely felt something there, but like in the beginning, she was taking some like philosophy class or some like, she was getting all sorts of metaphysical and stuff. Like every question I asked, she would just be like, but why is that? Like, but I'm just like, what is this woman doing? Like, why don't you just like give me something back instead of like making me like, you know, elaborate further on like what I'm talking about, or what my point is, or what the conversation is. So At first, it definitely was kind of weird, but again, it was just the feeling that there was something more behind it, and then maybe I could like get through to her or something a bit more. I don't know, because it's like, yeah, I don't know. Every situation or every I don't really know what I was going with that. No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it was definitely interesting. Yeah, I thought she was a character, but again, it was that like pondering the what ifs and stuff. There was no like definitive like yes or no with her, and that's what kind of I guess essentially like tickled my fancy or something, right? So that's like, okay, I'll act further on this, and yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
And now she doesn't just say, "But why is that?" all the time. See?
Yeah.
She can add to the conversation.
Yeah, we're developing. What was my first impression of you? So when we first met, like, I was going to school with my friend Adriana, and she was always trying to get me like go out and be more social, and like do like what normal people do, I guess. Anyway, like she ended up inviting me out to go to this like arcade bar one night, and a bunch of people from school were going. There were like 6 of us, and we all went to this arcade bar. And we're just like hanging out, drinking. I had like just turned 21, so it was like I was just out and about exploring, having fun. And then he showed up, and she actually knew his friend that he was with. They had like went on a date earlier that summer. So we ended up meeting up at the bar. Like they saw each other, and then we kind of like joined the 2 groups together. And then there was this like adult-sized Jenga board. And Tim and I got put on a team together because we were the younger 2 people. And we got with this other guy who wasn't very good at strategizing. So Tim and I just like went off to the corner, and we were just like strategizing how we were going to win and how we were going to beat these other people, which just got us talking more like while we were waiting in between turns, because our friends were just like off doing all kinds of stuff. Like they would not sit still long enough just to play Jenga. Like
Yeah.
couldn't just sit to play Jenga.
I mean, yeah, with like beer and stuff. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Jenga's too like tedious, I think, for when you're like drunk. Kind of just like pull the thing out, the thing tips over. Like I don't want to set it all up. Let's go grab a drink.
So we were like strategizing how to like create these situations 3 moves away, which would cause the whole thing to topple when they pull something. And then I liked how direct you were. Like you asked me for my number, and then you were like very direct and honest with your feelings, like right away. And then when we were on the light rail to the bar, you were very, very honest with me again, and just like telling me about your life and like being open in a way that most people aren't willing to be open. And then we went to the bar, and you were answering all my questions despite how crazy they were. And I was like, oh, I wonder like how far we can get down these random thought rabbit holes. And I was taking a philosophy class, so it was like, just imagine for all of you that know MBTI, NE on crack at the time. It was just like I was let's just explore and ponder this.
Like this right here. That's just always perpetually on her lap. I imagine that's what she was doing. Like, I'm going on a date, okay, like jotting these predetermined answers down or questions down.
No, not at all. Oh, very intuitive. Yeah, I just really liked talking to you, and I liked how your mind worked, and I liked getting to know how your mind worked. It was
I like how my mind works most of the time.
Yeah. And I liked that you put up with my craziness, because not a lot of people do. Why do you think ENFPs and INTJs are compatible? I think that we kind of just explained that just now. Like you liked that I was a little bit less predictable, but also like engaging and had stuff to say. And I liked that you were honest and had a lot of stuff to say. Like you had engaging things to talk about. So I think that's like fundamentally why we were compatible. And then on top of that, like politically, we had like alignments.
I don't know. Let's not go political. Like whatever. Yeah.
No, but I think that's important in a relationship. I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Did we both know MBTI?
No.
No, I was
No.
obsessed.
Not a clue. No, I didn't even know this thing existed till like we lived in Washington and we were at our apartment, and that's when you started your like YouTube thing.
But I made you take a test before that because we were at the tattered book cover in the bookstore, and I made you go on your phone and take the test.
I don't know if you called it like an MBT. You just called it like a personality test.
Yeah, I tricked him into
So
it.
I didn't know Myers-Briggs or whatever. No.
Well, Fode is asking a question. I don't know if we can answer this because I've never dated an INTP, so I don't know what it would be like to date them. Oh, who is the INTJ? He's the INTJ, and I'm the ENFP. The one wearing black. The one wearing black or the one with purple hair? Let's think about this.
Is that like a stereotype?
INTJs tend to be more like reserved, and more like monochromatic in their dress choice, and ENFPs tend to be a lot more like chaotic in their clothing choice and more colorful. It's like a stereotype. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to attack you.
Ow. No.
Anytime you're wondering who the INTJ is, look for the one in black. Oh, he wasn't that direct? No, he was direct in other ways, like just always pretty honest and forthcoming.
Yeah, pretty much just like, hey, I like you. So like what? I mean,
you were like, hey, I want to get to know you more. What's your number?
Basically, yeah.
And he brought out this flip phone, and I was like, what century are you in?
Hey, it was hard times back then.
It was pretty shocking seeing a flip phone though.
Dude, I had to like walk to Walmart and stuff all the time just to get like the minute cards. It's like insane, like where I was then. Like,
oops.
Excuse you.
That didn't pull the chair. You're rolling out of frame. There you go. We're on a wood floor, so like we're both on rolling chairs. Oh. If you were able to be another personality, what would you pick? Okay, if you had any personality trait that you don't have, what do you wish it was?
Just like a personality trait that I wish I had, or something. I don't know, maybe more patience, or like I like to think that I'm very like open-minded, just with like differing personalities and just like learning and whatnot. But I definitely can be impatient. Like if it's just a lot of things I feel like are just like, I don't know, like redundant with like just shit. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's more like, I don't know, open-mindedness. And like patience, I think, even more so. Like I feel like I already have it, but just more, I guess. I don't know.
What kind of things do you want to be more open-minded about? That's pretty broad. I feel like you're pretty open-minded.
I guess. Maybe with just the things people do, maybe with just like the niches people are in, like societal things, like TikTok now. Like I guess that's a big one right now. Like it's the whole rant time.
Yes, rant mode.
It's like my biggest pet peeve recently is just like how people are so malleable towards like what's the word? What's the word I hate? Internet personalities or like influencers and stuff. We are a bunch, like, so I guess I should use this lightly, I suppose. So like you guys are here, some of you just for entertainment, some of you just to whatever, have some social interaction, some of you to gain some sort of perspective on your own lives or something, or to, improve or whatever that may mean to you. But we're just normal people, like everyone, even like PewDiePie, Markiplier, like Ninja or whatever your fancy is and stuff. These people are just people. Like they're not even, it was bad enough idolizing like musicians and actors and whatever. But those are, and those people have like training, they have schooling and stuff like acting, all of that. you are, or not saying you, I'm just saying you generally speaking, like just the public, the masses, you're looking, or we're looking for, idolizing these people who are just random people, just random people in their YouTube. They pull out their camera and talk about something, or they're funny, or they, vaguely research something. And then we take that as so much more. We take their word as like much more than it is. Like there's validity. They're like, experts in the matter, scientists, because people give their political or economical or environmental opinions or data or whatever it may be on these matters, and we take it for much more than it is. And people don't realize that the influencers themselves don't realize that they have way more power and sway than they like realize. Like, they're doing a stream and all of a sudden they talk about, whatever, this PetSmart, like, abuses their animals, because I was in there the other day and I don't know, like I saw an employee like shove a dog to the ground or something, or whatever it may be. And you take that, their whole audience takes that and then spreads it, because social media, right? Like it's just everything gets like spread, when in all reality, they don't know that whole situation. They're not experts. So it's just, maybe that wasn't the best example, but generally speaking, yeah, that's where I want to be more open-minded with, like, okay, like I get, I want to get it, like that people are just like, these influencers do maybe have something to offer, even if it's just like for entertainment. But then the more like cynical part of me is like, I think people are getting more stupid, because it's just, we can't think for ourselves. We can't, have like the introspective tendencies, like what works for me. It's like, we need to be like corralled and guided. Like, I need approval from someone else or some answer from someone else, that will help me or something, instead of just like looking deep inside yourself and theory crafting, making case studies for yourself, trying different things out until something works for you. So yeah, in that regard, getting back to the question is, yeah, I wish I was just more understanding towards certain things, I guess. I don't know.
That was a really good
How about
answer.
you?
That was a really good answer. That's hard to follow.
Yeah. Well, it's not all there. It's, yeah. It wasn't as structured as I wanted it to be, but
I think that if I had any personality trait, it would be focused. Like, to be so obsessed with one thing and only one thing, and to be so obsessed with it that you take it to the farthest reaches that it's possible. Like, I really wish that's like how I was, because I'm a little bit more chaotic than that, and it's kind of annoying that like there's too many things that I want to do, because everything seems like the best thing in the world when it's introduced to me. And like, it's really hard to back away from that excitement and realize that like, no, I don't actually want that. So the trait that I would really like is focus and a single intent. That would be really freaking nice.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard, because you just look at, I mean, how do you get, like, how do you acquire like all the information in the world, essentially? Like, there's so many, I mean, just look at even how many, degrees and stuff you can get, or just like fields you can get into, and that requires years and years of research and study and like implementation. And it's scary. Like, that's something I've been dealing with, I guess recently more, is just like, I just want to know as much as I can about everything, but it's like, where do you begin? You can't, like, you're literally forced to kind of pick. Like, yeah, you can just, stumble upon or something, like just random oddities and, categories, but like what you want to focus and like completely, plunge into in regards to something like you specialize in, like you, I mean, how much you know about this, like MBTI, one of your like main, I guess,
Interests.
yeah, interests, definitely is that. But how many years you've been into it, and how many people you've collaborated with, and things you've researched, books and stuff, like, that's just, yeah, how do you, I mean, we have a very limited amount of time, and it's just, I want to know everything. And it's kind of scary to know for me that it's just never going to happen. And you're forced to just like pick a very few, select things. And then of course they're going to change over time as well. So it's just, it's a weird realization for me at least.
Same, which is why I live out that fantasy through my book. By creating a machine that can make you know everything that you need to know instantly. You can read anything, know all information, have access to it, be able to pull it up as if it's your own memory. Dude, that is what I really wanted. It would be so nice to just know everything. He said, INTJs are kind of stingy, so flip phone makes sense.
Yeah.
No, it says not stingy, doesn't have a compelling enough reason to bother.
Yeah. No, it's definitely certain things. Like with my phone, I was using the same crappy phone for super long, but then on the other hand, I'll invest like $3,000 into my computer. I guess at this point, like 3,400 into my computer.
Yeah, and you're looking for another 700 pretty soon.
Yeah, a new graphics card. Yeah.
Okay. This guy says he agrees. A lot of INTJs probably agree with you about the influencers.
Yeah.
I agree to a degree. I just wish that they would take their responsibility a little bit more seriously and use it. Because like I would kill to have that much like sway over people and like help make people better. And I really wish they would use it. But would they lose their influence if they started using it a little bit more? It's hard to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, they have the subscribers because of like their community or like what they're doing, I guess, like gaming or personality or just like ASMR. Like that is a mind-boggling thing to me as well. How big ASMR is. I'm just like
it's like music that you put in the background. It's like just imagine like you got like tingles on the back of your neck every time you heard it.
I hate the like.
Oh, I don't like it either.
Like the clicking noises. Like
I like the clicking noises.
Take a drink of water or something. Like I like
the nail tappies and stuff. This question is, when will I publish my first one? Hopefully on Friday, and it's going to be about ENTPs, the ENTP villain video. The masses have replaced God with influencers as the source of their morality, rather than factually check the data for themselves or rationally check the data for themselves. Yeah, I agree. However, I do think that there are commentary channels out there that are trying to do their part to kind of call that out. Like one I really like, and you guys should check out, is called D'Angelo Wallace. He takes all these big influencers and he calls them out on their stuff, and he discusses like, what's wrong with it. Yeah, and they don't, and I wish that they would as well.
I actually really agree with what is it, Lazix?
Lazix, yeah.
Yeah, Lazix.
I think he's the one that you sound like. When I was on Discord and I was talking to that guy and I made you listen to his voice, you guys sound almost exactly the same.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
That was
listening.
Like 6 months ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
You just randomly like pulled that up.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the one.
But no, I completely agree with that sentiment, like 100%. If people, like literally imagine this society where just every single person literally like checks, actually like fact checks or researches this topic instead of saying something that they know nothing about. Like how much collaboration and it would lead to like further ingenuity. Like we would advance so much quicker because the conversation and the actual just the information being distributed would be actually factual and concrete and not just like hypothetical or just like, oh, I wish this would get done or this or that. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah, I completely agree with that sentiment. People need to just research what they're talking about before they like give their opinion, like I don't like, or like Queen sucks or something. Like, why do they suck? Like, are you like a vocal major or something? Are you like a producer or whatever it may be? Like, what why do they suck? Give actual like fundamentals, not just a subjective, well, I don't like their style of music, like, because that again carries weight. Queen is actually like musically an ingenious band and stuff. But yeah.
You brought that up because one of your friends mentioned the Queen movie yesterday, and he got you remembering it.
Well, he said it was good, but no, that was just like an example. That was the first one that came to me. It's just like, why? Just answering literally why is that, I guess, and not just like giving your opinion for what it is, because that could change other people's opinions, and it could be for better or worse. Who knows? But yeah, just generally speaking, know what you're talking about before you give your opinion. Otherwise, don't say anything.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things I really like about you is that you do research your opinions. And honestly, for the things that I don't care too much about, if you've researched it and you give me like solid reasonings for that belief, I'll just trust you because like I know that you've thoroughly taken care of that and I can trust your judgment. So that's one of the things I really like about you as well. You keep me informed on things that I don't want to have to inform myself on.
Like the stuff with like, I mean, we're experiencing it. I think it's become more abundantly clear this last year than ever before that people have no fucking clue what they're talking about, just with like the masks and stuff and just COVID in general. Like, I find like most ironically, my immediate family, they're all like super religious. I was born like Catholic, and they don't believe like COVID's like a real thing, like a real threat. It's just like a government hoax. And, we're going, the masks are just like a test for us to see how easily we're, for the government to see how easily we're like corralled and swayed basically. But it's like, they literally have nothing to show. Like my brother would try to send me something and it was like immediately, rebutted or like just chopped down to nothing because it was like some random like ER nurse who was like a whistleblower or something saying, like whatever X, Y, and Z is fake or blah, 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 where you can find. So my point being is like, people are choosing to believe one person or one source. Like it would be one thing if it's like the rest of the world, like outside of even just like the US, I guess, because that's where we live, we're saying like, oh yeah, COVID's fake or blah, blah, masks don't work. But it's like literally, and America's saying like masks work, keep wearing them. But like literally everyone like around the world, is saying like, objectively masks are good. They help. They even if you do get some, even if some get through the mask, like you're not going to get as much. Therefore, the actual like effect won't be as bad. Like you won't get as bad of like illness or ailments because of that. You're not actually absorbing as much. So it's just like, it's like that. Yeah. But then in turn they believe in God. So it's just super ironic that they won't believe factual evidence and data, but then on the other hand, they will believe something that is, you literally cannot prove it in this world. It's just something, you literally have to believe in. It's faith. But this is like, there's actual concrete data. So yeah, that's getting back to just like research, research. Just don't look at one thing because naturally you're going to take in the information that correlates with your like understanding of the situation and kind of disregard the rest.
And Google does that to you actually relatively intentionally. It provides you responses that are one based on location and two based on your search history and your browsing history. So the kinds of videos you watch on YouTube, all that kind of stuff feeds into your Google search, which is going to in turn show you things that are more relative to what you're going to click on. Because the whole point of it is to give you on the first page a link that you will click onto. Like that's the point of Google, is that you don't have to go down pages and pages. And so it's like what you're saying, like it's kind of hard to do what you're saying, like the way that things are set up, but it just takes like, maybe even like a private browser and put in like the other side of things, like the exact opposite, and just look into it, because I think you should try to disprove things as much as prove them.
I mean, find multiple sources. It's just basically that, like, you research something. Why?
And make sure they don't reference each other.
Basically, yeah. Basically, don't get your things off Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever it may be. Like, actually look into individual journalism and whatnot. Not just in like our country or your country or wherever you are. Look around the world. See if it's like correlative, you know. And then from there, you can kind of like determine if it's actually, you know, something like believable and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Someone is saying that they like Lego white noise is the ultimate ASMR experience. You should check it out.
Lego white noise?
Lego white noise.
What is a Lego white noise? What?
I don't know. I'm imagining just like maybe like pouring tubs of Legos.
But white noise is like the like.
White noise is like a background noise that blocks things out. Yeah, so I would imagine like dumping piles of Legos. That's my guess. Oh no, it's the name of the album. Oh, just kidding. I went a little too far there then. Gear says that he really likes his sister's ability to be able to talk to everyone so easily and for the most part be liked. Curious if you have had any thoughts that might be similar. Do you feel like I could talk to everyone easily and be relatively well liked?
I mean, I think you could be liked, but I don't think, I honestly don't think you're able to talk to everyone easily. Like it's like the initial, I think after you get to know them a little more, but right off the get-go, just like socializing in public and whatnot, I've definitely noticed that you are much more like, I would say like introverted, like publicly until you feel comfortable, which I guess like that's anyone. But
I try to observe and like make sure that my topics of interest aren't gonna like make people not want to talk to me. I try to see what people are interested in before I start talking to them. If I'm one-on-one, I think I could talk to anyone. Yeah. But when it's a group setting, I think it becomes like I have to observe first and take it in. One-on-one, I'm pretty sure I could talk to anyone like instantly.
Yeah, probably. That's it.
Confirmation bias is a hell of a thing, indeed. And yes, it is Valentine's Day. Happy 14th of February to you guys. Oh no, that's frustrating. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the sensationalization of it all, I think. I search for stuff sometimes and can't find what I want. It seems like you already have to have a sense of general knowledge in order to know what to look for more.
Not really. I mean, whatever topic, something that you're concerned about or curious about, you already know the topic, you know, whatever it may be. So you just kind of like use that as like the just like the conduit to look into, you know, just you could literally type just Wikipedia to start, I guess.
Like I usually start with Wikipedia.
whatever that is, and then you just branch off from there, right? Like I don't know. A lot of stuff. That's what. Sorry, I don't know.
I'm sorry.
But that's like that's the thing that makes me want to know more than ever. Like if I have a general knowledge of something, I almost maybe will become a little more complacent. I'll still like research, but I still will be a little more complacent. Like like I already kind of know what I'm talking about, so I don't have to dig as much or delve as deep. Whereas if I have no understanding, I don't even know what the crap they're talking about, then that's going to make me be like, okay, I want to know. Like even like the stuff with GameStop stock.
That's a tongue twister for the generation.
I didn't know anything about stock or Wall Street. I don't care about any of that. That just seems petty to me. Like to me, because it's not like relative to my life, but a lot of people obviously gain and monetize extremely off of that. So it's like cool. But yeah, I knew nothing about that. And I wanted to research more, and like I learned a little bit about stock because of it. Not like I'm really going to use it, like it's going to be like relative, but yeah. I mean, for like a prime example, I knew nothing about that, but then I looked into like stocks and like brokers and all of that, and yeah, learned a little bit. So
yeah. It's hard. I think it's hard to
Balance.
search sometimes, but also your library website can be really good too. He says, nice to see you after Valheim. We've been playing so much. I've already put 24 hours into this game and I've had it for 3 days.
Guess what I'm going to do right when this is over?
I have to film something before I can play, and I keep thinking, like, all I want to do is play. It's, like, so addictive. Guys, if you have a PC, I recommend looking into Valheim. It is $20 for early access to one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
Link in the description below. No.
I'll link it. Why not? I mean, it's not like I'm going to get affiliated link, but hey, you guys can check it out. It's a collaborative Viking game where you like have to mine and build things and work together and like cross the ocean on boats and stuff. It's freaking cool.
It's just like an open world kind of like exploratory game. It's kind of like RuneScape meets Elder Scrolls with kind of like a sprinkle of like Dark Souls, with like they kind of add like these bosses and stuff that give you like progressions towards like, you know, utility or like weaponry, things like that. You'll kill a boss and it'll give you like a component to build like you know, like a utility, like a pickaxe or something, where it just like it makes it easier for you to advance and progress further by like, you know, getting core or like like ore and getting better armor, things like that. But
So much fun.
it's definitely not for everyone. It's actually just, yeah, I think it's sad to say, but in the past like week I put over 70 hours into it. So
I think it's more than that, but I like that you're lowballing it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Few also really enjoys your Gondor shirt.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to see if the 4K rendition goes down in cost so I can buy it, because it's like the theatrical and extended edition they released like a couple months ago, and I really want to get those, but they're like $100 right now. So
So Cedric had another searching question. Sometimes when I'm looking for like maybe genetic clusters on how similarities are distributed, I'm not sure what to search for to find it. I think what might be difficult about that information is that it sounds like what you would want is psychological studies, which generally come out peer reviewed, and you generally have to have access to the database or like pay to see the article because of the amount of research that's going into it.
That's all just like, I mean, it's all just case studying. Most of psychology is literally, just like peer-to-peer review and case study. There's nothing really like concrete for the most part. It's all just kind of, literal case study. I forget, my buddy is a psychology major. He has his bachelor's from Western. So I could see, I know he says, or he told me like recently that he has access to some websites. I don't know if it's because of his school login that he has access to it, but I could try to find that and give that to you. But yeah, that's where just literally like thousands of forums and stuff with actual like professionals in the matter.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best place to look for. That's why the one thing that really frustrates me is that we have so much information, but a lot of it has like a pay barrier, which means that people are going to go for the free information. The free information has a lot less validity because it's not peer reviewed and it's not like double checked. And he says, is it ARK but Viking? What's ARK?
Oh, ARK.
ARK.
I never actually played ARK. It's, man, I don't know. It's like
Civilizations, but real time.
I mean, it's just like a third person, like Minecraft, but better. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't like Minecraft, but like it's the building. There's a lot of building. You can definitely log on and invest days into just building a house or building like an area. I mean, it's honestly,
villages.
In regards to like the building games and stuff, it's probably one of the most in-depth that I've ever played. Like with just like it's different that you actually need like a foundation. It's like physics actually matter in this game.
You can get killed by a falling tree.
I mean that, yeah, but like you need an actual foundation. Otherwise, you know, like if you try to build high or something, it's just going to start crumbling apart and like deteriorating. Mm-hmm. So you actually need like to like think about and pre-plan how you're going to do it. So in that regard, it's cool. But yeah, and then there's also like enemies in the world. You know, it's literally you can get like your stats up, whatever, you know, like woodcutting, mining, combat, all of that. But
so much fun. Get it.
Yeah.
Play it. Get all your friends to play it. You might not be able to really answer this question, but what are our Enneagram types? I'm a 9, so like conflict and like most specifically, knowing that people are going to get mad at me, I try to avoid that. So like it means sometimes I'm not like fully honest, and then like emotions come out when they're overflowing instead of like when I should have just talked about them right away. So that's like, I think how it influences how I approach the relationship. Your Enneagram, I don't know if we've really figured it out, but my guess is a 1, which is the one we were talking about the other day, like the perfectionist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the perfect. So he's like definitely more particular about how certain things are, and it can be really stressful to him if things aren't in a very particular order. And so I think it makes him a little bit more prone to get upset about things that maybe I feel like shouldn't matter as much, you know, whether or not the dishes are put away in a certain way or something. But it's not like those things bother. It's like more so you get bothered when I don't like progress in my personal growth. I think that bothers you more than the individual events. And I think when you see it, it just like adds to the other aspect of what you see about how I am in my trajectory, and when I'm not growing in an area that seems so easy to you, you're just like,
I don't know if it's more my personality or just that I'm OCD. Like, everything has to be like symmetrical and whatnot, like, you know, spacings on the walls or something. Or like I have like a wrist rest for my keyboard and stuff. It has to be like aligned to where like the gap, because I have like a TKL keyboard, so it's smaller than like the full. It doesn't have the number pad, so like there's these little like divots, so it has to like align perfectly. Things like that. Yeah, just super OCD.
Yeah. But that being said, we have been talking for an hour. I just want to call up this last comment, which says that they're an INTJ and they want to become a manga creator. That's amazing. Let us know when you make it so that we can read your manga. That's amazing.
I've never read mangas.
You've read like comic books.
I mean, I guess, yeah. It's just basically the same thing, but anime.
Yeah, it's just anime style. Mm-hmm. Like think Attack on Titan drawing as a comic book. Mm-hmm. And it's thicker instead of thin and skinny. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. But with all that being said, do you have any final closing statements about relationships or anything we talked about in general in the last hour?
If you generally feel bad about your relationship, you probably shouldn't be in it.
I agree.
You know, it's basically that, because you're stopping yourself. We have one life, essentially. I'm not going YOLO. I don't like that, but like you have literally one life. You only got
one shot. Do not miss your chance to go.
Yeah, basically. But you do have like one chance to live and experiment. And I'm not saying like leave your relationship, because I don't know the circumstances. No one knows it better than yourself, but don't become so like diluted of like feeling alone or scared of change. So obviously circumstances are different. Like if you have kids or whatever, or you know, you're stuck within a lease together, whatever it may be. Yeah, I get that. But like, you need to try to be the one. If they're not looking to improve it, you need to be the one to let them know things need to change. And if that doesn't work out, you know, if you've given like a fully honest effort, then you need to move on. And that's basically that, because there could be someone infinitely better than that, literally just waiting for you, and you're stopping that potential because you're scared of change, and that's literally insanity. So don't do that.
And then to follow up on that, on the opposite angle, I feel like just because you have bad days or you have these moments where there is that time that's like, this needs to change or it's not going to work, just because those happen doesn't mean that it is the end of your relationship either. Those can be like scary moments when you're in those really heightened emotions. But at the end of the day, you guys are talking about it because you want to try to do something about it. And if they didn't want to do anything, you would just leave. So
I mean, we've had, I probably in the 6 years, we've had maybe like 3 times where we even talked about breaking up. You know, maybe like 3-4 times where it got like pretty serious of like, hey, is this over? And we've like been like, okay, what's wrong? Like, what needs to change? What has kind of been like, what, you know, the roots of these issues and stuff. And we, you know, sat down, talked about it, figured it out, and we've actively been making improvements and whatnot. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I think a relationship is just supposed to be someone you're comfortable just being around. You don't have to always communicate. You know, like people are so scared, like, oh, I don't know what to talk to my lover with anymore, my relationship. Like, you don't have to talk. Like, you should just be able to be comfortable even doing different things around each other. You know, not communicating, not doing everything together. Like, that's just, I mean, no 2 people in this world are ever going to live in existence like that. There's no way. There's no possible way that happens. People are too different and we're way too ever changing. So I think going in with that mentality, you would have like infinite more success. And it's also obviously dealing with another person, you have to have that portrayed to them as well. So you have to make them understand like where you're coming from. Like, you know, you can't just go in and be like, oh, well, yeah, I don't, you know, we could just sit here and do whatever. Like, you know, you have to make them understand like why that is. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I don't really, it helps me. It helps us, I think, perpetually. We don't feel confined and restricted and like on a pedestal of like, oh man, we haven't done anything together in the past couple days, or like we just are doing our own things. We'll, you know, we always talk or like we'll hug and you know, stop by and see each other, just say hi, like, but we're not always just like in each other's faces, like, oh my God, let's hold hands in public all the time, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just like, it's just, yeah, when it starts to become forced, that's when I think there's an issue. But yeah, just I'm going around the world here, so that's basically it.
Yeah, have good communication, talk about things, work together to help improve yourself, not to improve the other person. The other person's responsible for themselves. You can be honest if you feel like they need to hear it, but it's not your job to change the other person. It's your job to change yourself. And I honestly would agree that having our alone space and our little areas that are like ours is one of the best things that like we've ever done for our relationship. It's like be able to have our separate space and not try to do everything together.
Yeah.
When I stopped like being super needy and I like started to trust that like it's okay that we don't spend every minute together. That was hard for me. Like I had to learn to like trust that like it's okay if we don't spend, because I wanted to be more productive, but I also wanted to just like be around you all the time. And I'd like sit in the room and like watch you play video games and stuff. Like I don't need to spend all my time staring at everything you do. Like it's okay. I can live my own life too. And that was, I think, really great for both of us. So, anyway, thank you all so very much for watching. And I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday evening or Monday morning for those of you who are on the other side of the world. And yeah, have a great one, you guys.
Bye-bye.